Hey everybody, and welcome to the Growth Experience Podcast. I am your host, Chris Dye. Our hope is that by listening to this podcast, you realize that you have a gift. And by believing in your gift, you can uncover your purpose and have vision for your life. Whether you're listening in your car, at home, or watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in, and let's go! What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the Growth Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Dye. We've resumed the pod after last week with great feedback. So thank you for everybody who's been tuning in and reaching out, providing that feedback, subscribing, engaging. It's a big blessing to me. And today we do have our featured guest. I know that everybody, she's not a guest anymore. You can almost call her a co-host now, right? I know that everybody's asked me when Kelsey's coming back on the show. So here she is, my wife, Kelsey Dye, with our new, or not new, but continued Family Matters series, right?
I have to come up with a new sign.
I know. I think we talked about doing some neon or something. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? That'd be cool, yeah. We'll figure that out at some point. Bear with us. The Legacy Studios is still getting put together, but we got a pretty sweet setup now. So before we dive in, I am going to mention that this episode is sponsored by Community Land Title. Community Land Title is a full-service land, title, and escrow settlement provider here to protect your real estate investments. When you work with their knowledgeable team, you'll be guided through the process in a transparent and timely way. Shout out to everybody at CLT. I also want to remind you again, we kicked off this new sponsorship last week, and I'm very, very excited about it. We are also sponsored by BetterHelp. And so if you go to betterhelp.com/growthpod, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/growthpod, you will receive 10% off your first month of therapy sessions. BetterHelp is an incredible organization that provides mental health resources online. So they're nationwide, wherever you are. You can cater that. You can cater that experience to your situation, right? Whatever you need, whether it be a faith-based counselor, whether it be a child, whether you're single, whether you're married, you just fill out a simple questionnaire and they will match you with the best therapist that they have for that situation.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's the kind of stuff that we want to provide for the people that listen to the show, our agents that partner with us. You know, we're more about, I'll spill the beans a little bit. I was on ESPN radio this week, and we dove into that a little bit, right? So with our real estate company, we're not just focused on being transactional, right? There's more things that we want to provide for our agents that partner with us, and BetterHelp is a really cool resource for mental health.
And I feel like not only is mental health an underutilized tool in society, but I feel like especially probably for entrepreneurs, people that don't have a company insurance or whatever, I feel like a lot of them would steer clear of stuff like that. So that's awesome that you're providing that.
Thanks, honey. I appreciate you. Speaking of pricing, BetterHelp does have really great pricing that is usually going to beat the private market, especially with entrepreneurs and insurance and things of that nature. They have great prices, and again, you'll get 10% off if you enter our code. So I hope that blesses you. I hope that helps you and you're able to utilize that. But today, just like every other day that we do Family Matters, we're going to dive into a specific topic. And so we were talking about it on the way over here. Kelsey's laughing because, my gosh, it was like pulling teeth to figure out what in the world we were going to talk about.
Well, we both were like, I feel like God told me this week. And I was like, really? I didn't get that vibe, but all right. She
was like, what do you feel like God was talking to you about? And maybe we'll match it up and it'll be the same. And she made me go first, of course. So I went, and of course it was not the same. But we ended up on this topic that we're going to discuss today, just about health, right? About taking care of your body. You guys heard me talk about it now a few different times. Your temple, right? Your mind and your body. What are you doing to steward this once obviously once in a lifetime. Like, we are all going to leave our bodies someday, but while we're here, we have to take care of it. We have to take care of it. And there's a lot of different reasons, many different facets of how you do that and why we do that. So we're going to touch on that today.
Do you have like a question, or you want me to just go for it?
I mean, so let's just kind of start from the beginning. Kelsey has been going to the gym for the last few weeks.
Kelsey
we had some traveling.
Been getting murked at the gym.
Murked. My gosh, my wife just used murked. She always makes fun of me when I say that, so this episode's being recorded. That's amazing. So yeah, that's awesome. I don't even know where to go from here. Let's just shut it down. Everybody have a good day. Just kidding. Go ahead, honey. That was awesome.
So last time we did the Family Matters, we talked about how I started this homeschooling journey, right? So
right.
That's a topic for another day. It's been great. It really has. But it has really pointed out an obvious for me that I need to do something that's just for me. And so, because, now I'm home with the kids almost every day, all day, and it's wonderful, and I would not change that. But I was like, Mama needs at least an hour by herself. So, where we're living right now, there's a gym about 15 minutes away. And I kept passing it, because it's like on our routine way to meet for our oldest son, Noah. And it's just like an all-female gym. Shout out to Empower Her Fitness. And I was like, man, I feel like that would be really cool. And I've always been like health conscious, but with kids and our crazy schedules, I mean, finding an actual workout routine that fits has been so hard, and finding something I can stick with has been really hard. So I reached out, and they do like a boot camp kind of thing, Monday through Friday. Obviously you can go as often as you want, but my goal was like 3 days a week. I was like, I can just get up and go. And so we worked out. They have like 3 different time slots, and we talked about, I feel the best when I get up and I am awake before the kids. It's super hard. It's super hard, especially with Lainey still being in that kind of baby stage where sometimes she doesn't sleep through the night and, ends up in our bed and stuff like that. But we opted that I would go to the 6 a.m. class so that I can get up and go and then come home and be like ready to start the day with the kids. And then Chris goes after that, right? We have a little system worked out now. So it has been very challenging because I'm not a morning person by nature. Obviously my children have turned me into one, but by nature I'm not a morning person. I never have been. You can ask my mom. Getting me out of bed for school was always like torturous.
Yeah.
So the hardest part has just been committing to that new like routine change, like getting up at 5:15 and actually getting out of bed. But I've noticed every day that I've done it, I've gotten up, I've gotten there, and I've just wrecked myself for 45 minutes during this boot camp. But the rest of my day is then like exponentially better than the days that I oversleep and don't make it, or we had a crazy 2 weeks where we were traveling, and then we had some just family stuff, and so I didn't go for almost 2 weeks straight. And
you can notice a difference.
Oh, I just noticed so much how different my mood was. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I told Chris, I was like, I'm committing to make it a priority because I feel so much better. I'm a happier version of myself. Like, I'm better for the kids. I'm better for you.
Yeah.
So it's not even so much for me about obviously the weight loss and the toning things up is a plus, but it's not even so much about that for me as creating a healthy habit, and like really focusing on my mental health. Right. It helps me so much for the rest of my day.
Yeah. And the actual physical nature of it for your mental health, right. Not just, which is so important. Like you said, we sat down and talked about it. not just having something for yourself. That helps your mental health, right? But then on top of that, like exercise, I'm not, a nutritionist or, exercise science person, but if you don't know that exercise helps your mental health, like there's articles, there's tons of receipts online. You just Google the thing, okay?
I feel like every 30-something-year-old female knows because of Legally Blonde. Every time it's like,
I've never seen that movie.
Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. It's like, trust me.
That's a clip.
Every female knows.
That's amazing. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, what's really cool about this whole thing of exercise or anything that, and I'm gonna hit it with a little Bible in just a minute, is that usually, and we're talking about this temple thing right now, your mind and your body, right? We talked about BetterHelp, therapy, and now we're talking about exercise. So usually, if something is good for one thing, it's good for a lot of different things. And that is what's really cool to see and experience. But then also to know that it's not just, culture that tells us this thing. Like obviously we can read a book that tells us about exercise science and how important it is, right? But you and I, especially lately, have been trying to tie things back to Scripture, right? This has been around for a long time, this book. And so before I read this too, I want to shout out to the ladies, to the mamas, because I know, and we've had so many conversations. I mean, we've been married almost 8 years, and this has been a constant theme of, I just really feel like I don't have time for myself. Or if you do something for yourself, you feel guilty, right? Fellas, we're a little different, right? I mean, we like to go play golf or watch football or, those are things that we do to not just fill up our time, but to give us a mental rest or, for whatever reason, pure enjoyment, right? Let's talk about that. But this is something that you do for yourself that makes you better in many aspects of your life, right? And it's cool because I actually watched this video that said if you want your kids to grow up in a healthy way and prioritize exercise, they actually get that from their moms. And so you going to the gym, taking care of yourself, reading your Bible, which we've talked about with Noah, I call you the gatekeeper of our home because you're the front gate to our children mostly, right? And we make decisions together, but at the same time, you're with them the majority of the time. So you're going to have a heavier influence. And I just thought that video was cool. And that I totally feel like it was a God thing because I saw it like 4 days prior to you deciding to go to the gym. And so I thought that was awesome. I also want to be, this podcast, and especially the Family Matters series, is about being humble, open, and transparent, right? So for the guys, or for anybody who's sacrificing any time for themselves, I was going to the gym at that time for myself, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've always been an on and off gym goer. That's just something I've done my entire life, through sports and through the military and so forth, right? And so I genuinely felt a check in my spirit that it would be best for you to go at that time. And so I said, hey, I tried really hard. It's really stinking hard to get up at 4 o'clock and go. And most of the time I'd roll out of bed at 4:20. And you don't think 20 minutes makes a lot of difference, but it makes a big difference. And so long story short, I decided to prioritize my wife and her well-being for what she wanted to do. And so now she goes to the gym at 6, but she realizes, like you said, how big of an effect it's had on you, how much of a difference it's made in your mood throughout the day. And so texted me the other day and said, hey, I realize that you've said you felt bad for taking my gym time, but I don't see it that way. And we're we're thinking the same thing at the same time, that, okay, well, I'm just going to start going right after you. I'm going to wake up when you wake up or shortly after, and, do my devotional, do my reading, which I've been doing, and then rolling into the gym as soon as you get home. So it's been a trial and error thing, right? And, you're never going to, nothing's ever perfect. We were talking about that on the way over here. You're never going to reach perfection, but that's something I wanted to point out too, that like, especially when you're married, I love going to the gym. I know that it's good for me. Why wouldn't I want that for my wife? And if the only time she can go is at 6 o'clock in the morning, like, I felt a conviction to make that happen, right?
That's very sweet.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I'm glad that you enjoy going.
Enjoy is a strong word. That's a strong word.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
Literally, we're going to Knoxville after we leave here.
Yeah, Elevation Nights in Knoxville. Super pumped.
And this morning, I was like, Chris, I can't worship because I can't lift my arms past here. Like,
just do the open hand prayer.
This is all you get from me tonight. Woo! Because my arms are dead.
That's awesome. But yeah, I'm excited about Elevation Nights. But also, fellas, especially if you're in a marriage, in a relationship, I'll just give you a little context too. So nothing will make you want to work out more than your wife working out. So even if I couldn't hit it in the morning, like, I was going to get there at some point in the day, no matter what. That, and when your wife hugs you and tells you, ooh, I felt a little ab hiding in there, under there somewhere, that'll make you keep going to the gym too. So we've had a good experience. It's been fun for us trying to figure this thing out. And like I said, a little bit of Bible behind that, something that I read that we've talked about recently. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. So it's so funny how we adopt things from culture, but like I said, that are in this book. Like Dave Ramsey tells you that you can get a master's in finance by reading the book of Proverbs. And that dude, however you feel about him, runs a very successful company that's debt-free. So just take that for what you will. But I want to read this 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24 through 27. This is Paul talking to the church of Corinth. Don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. That is, run your day. Don't let your day run you. Like you said, oversleeping, I feel so much better, right? If I go to the gym in the morning. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step. I am not just shadow boxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified. And we talked about that on the way over here too, right? That sometimes it's hard for us to speak about things that we're not experts in.
I'm not a fitness expert.
And neither am I.
By any means.
Neither am I. So, man, I really don't want to share this, but I feel like I should. When I was in the military and I had knee surgery and shoulder surgery, I'm going to get a little emotional. Wasn't expecting that. I genuinely, and I talked about this at the beginning of the episode last week through BetterHelp, I was in therapy. Part of the reason I was in therapy was because, and this is how exercise affects your mental health, I could not perform the daily tasks of even walking normally because I had knee surgery, or I couldn't hold my kids because I had shoulder surgery. And so we don't realize the effect of not being able to do things physically has on our mental, right? On our mental health. And so part of my genuine season of depression was because I couldn't move my body the way that I normally did. Mm-hmm. And that's how important this is. And it's everybody and their mother is speaking on this right now. And you know, a lot of the business people that I listen to are now saying, hey, prioritize your health. That used to not be nearly as much of a thing as sales numbers and, right? But yeah, that's why I felt like this is something that we should talk about today.
And then I think I've talked about it before, but for me, I always go back to like the Proverbs 31 woman, right? The getting up before her family, like, and then being like the last one to go to sleep, just like you said, just running the race and working hard every day. So yeah, I've been pushing this body to its limits. But I feel like it's so important to have goals and then try to achieve those no matter what it is, whether it's fitness or not. Obviously, fitness has, perks other than just getting fit.
Right.
Which is what we're talking about. But
yep.
It's just that, always trying to achieve better,
Yeah, absolutely. And like that last bit of that says, I fear that after preaching to others, I myself might be disqualified if I don't do these things. So what is consistency? Consistency is doing something more often than you don't do it. So if you go to the gym 4 times a week, you're consistent in going to the gym.
Yeah, when I set that 3-day week goal, I realized quickly that I think it would actually be easier for me to do 5 days a week, to just commit to, okay, Monday through Friday, I'm getting up and I'm going. And this week I did 4, and I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's huge too, because, realizing that it's goals, right? Like, hey, I want to set this, right? But at the end of the day, it's still about just growth.
Right.
Like every day that you go, even if you don't perform at your best, you win. And you didn't just check a box. Like, you genuinely ran your day and not let your day run you. You grew even just 1%, right? My buddy Justin in Detroit on his podcast and through his social media just talks about 1% better every day, right? That's James Clear, Atomic Habits. Great book as well. What can we do to be 1% better every single day? And that's, for us being intentional. We talked, what was it, last night that we had a conversation about, like
McDonald's?
Yeah. Making sure, because, golly, these kids, they love them chicken nuggets, bro.
Also, I know it's McDonald's.
Yeah. We call it McDonald's.
McDonald's in our family.
Yeah. But, really limiting that sort of stuff. And at the end of the day, just modeling what a healthy lifestyle looks like for our kids.
Well, without going into too much detail, because we could talk about that forever.
Right.
But, a few years ago, I started a health journey with Plexus, and just the amount I have learned about how much what you're putting in your body affects your health again. And, all these things that I feel like we're seeing in culture as far as so many more behavior issues, kids diagnosed with ADD and, all these things, and feel like, there's a correlation that food we're putting in our body is more and more and more processed over the years. If you think about it, I was telling Chris, I feel like we were the generation that started. Because I remember I totally would drink soda every day, and my parents never limited it, and we would eat out all the time, but their generation didn't do that. So it was now we are having kids, and we were that generation, and we're just passing down these terrible habits. And so just trying to get back to the roots, And it's funny because I feel like I'm turning into the crunchy mama, going back to, I kind of want to learn how to bake my own bread. And I really enjoy gardening and all these things that I never would have expected for myself.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's so important, and to teach our kids that I will be 100% honest. They hate vegetables. Our kids don't eat super
Except
healthy.
for Lainey. She crushes some tomatoes.
Lainey and Noah, they do really well.
Yeah.
But
the two middles.
Our kids don't eat super healthy. I just want to throw that out there. I know there are families that their kids will eat chickpeas and I don't know, crazy things.
Hummus.
That's not our family.
Right.
Just disclaimer. But Olivia, we've noticed, has a serious sweet tooth. So, like,
Oops.
trying to substitute, well, can I have gummy worms for have this apple instead?
Right.
Like, we're just trying to be way more conscious of that stuff. And also limiting what we bring in the house, too,
Yeah.
Like,
that's huge.
It's
like we don't drink as much soda if we don't buy as much soda, right? So limiting the negative choices and exchanging them for healthy ones.
Right. I think it's just like the motivation for us obviously is to be healthy, right? But we want to model for our kids what healthy overall looks like, right? And that is creating these daily habits that are going to make us the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the overall arching theme. We have committed to this fitness journey and we're working on it, doing better with the food, obviously.
That's a huge part of it. Obviously, if you don't know how this stuff works, it really starts in the kitchen. Because I can go throw some weight around or whatever and come home and eat Cap'n Crunch, which...
You don't do that.
Not anymore. I haven't done that.
I've never seen that happen.
Don't you do that to me right now. Haven't done that in a long time, okay? I almost got cereal last night, but what did I get instead? Greek yogurt. Shout out to 18 grams of protein, Jack. Put a little lemonade packet in there. It tasted like lemon pie. It was so good. But yeah, we're honest here. That's one of the things that we want to prioritize. We want to model for our family so that we may not be disqualified when we talk about it to other people. And I have a long way to go.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, being consistent, doing it more often than you don't, you will get there. You will get there. You said something at the very beginning, and I'm going to shamelessly plug the last episode because I thought it was really good. You said you committed, right? How can people commit to being, just a quick little answer, commit to health, commit to going to the gym, bettering yourself? How do you do that?
You pay the 4-week trial.
Bam. Right? Ooh, that's good though. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but that's so good because Michael Burt, who I talked about last week too, Coach Michael Burt that I've been doing some coaching with, he says, when you pay, you play, right? Because if you don't pay, you're more than likely going to make an excuse.
Right.
But if you've paid this membership and you're like, well, shoot, I paid 3 months of going to the gym, I might as well go. And I'm going to be honest with you, it ain't Planet Fitness, y'all. No, nothing against Planet Fitness, but $9.99 ain't gonna do it because you can hide $10 a month.
Feel that sting.
Yeah, the pain of not going is not greater than the pain of paying $9.99. Right? You got to make the pain of not going more than the pain of paying whatever membership price. And so for us, it's generally about $30 a month, and we pay that together, right? So as a family,
It's more than that, but that's okay.
Oh, for you, yeah, for yours.
It's fine.
But either way, it hurts when you look at that on the budget line item and say, well, we're not using this. Why did I pay it?
Right.
So that's good. I like that. That's good.
That was a joking answer, but also true. I told Chris.
So what would your serious answer be?
Well, they were starting this new, so I had done one 4-week trial, and I literally missed 2 weeks. So we didn't get our money's worth in that one. And she was starting a new strength training boot camp series. And so she was like, I just need to know who's committed because, you're really going to want to be here every day because we're targeting different muscle groups and stuff like that. So I waited until 6 p.m. on Sunday before.
We've re-upped.
Yeah, before I messaged her and was like, okay, sign me up. So I think I just had to make that mental, listen, you have to do this. And for me, it's just because I can tell such a difference. And I know that the version of me that commits and actually follows through is so much better than the other version. So I just had to
ooh, that's good.
Just had to buckle down and do it.
That's your serious answer right there. Say that one more time. I know that the version of me.
You got it. I mean.
That commits is so much better than the version of me that doesn't. Something paraphrase a little. But that was fire.
Sounds good.
That was so good. Well, I'm just gonna shout out my wife. You know, somebody who historically hasn't gone to the gym, right?
Yeah, she was like, "When's the last time you were in the gym?" And I was like,
several years.
Does the time I counted out or worked out in my garage count?
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, no, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
Always proud of you in the way that you lead our family. Like I said, gatekeeper of our home. I will not take that nickname away because I think it's 100% accurate the way you model for our kids. I'm very thankful for you.
Appreciate
you. Wink, wink. All right, y'all. Well, short episode, but I thought was really impactful. Thank you for tuning in to Family Matters series, Health is Wealth. That's what we're going to title this one. That just hit me. So health is wealth, y'all, and I hope that you found this episode helpful. Again, I want to remind you that this episode is sponsored by Community Land Title. CLT is a full-service title and escrow settlement provider here to protect your real estate investments. When you work with their knowledgeable team, you'll be guided through the process in a transparent and timely way. And just as I say at the end of every episode, I will leave you with this. You have a gift. It's time to grow in it.